What's up, IBL fans? Daxdleader here, back with my second coach interview, this time with the commissioner of the league himself, DarkDevil26.
Hi!
Alright, and I think without further ado, we're just gonna hop right into the questions. So, Brendan, what would you say the top 3 favorite Tier 5 mons you've used in Draft League format so far have been?
That is a good question. So I'd say the top of the list is Zebstrika. I've come to really like Zebstrika. I use Zebstrika in Season 4. Actually, no, I think I've used Zebstrika in every single season, except Season 2. I have used Zebstrika in every single season besides Season 2.
Nice.
Had it in Season 1, I picked it up in free agency, I drafted it in Season 3, and then I picked it up in free agency again in Season 4. So yeah, I quite like Zebstrika. I used it a lot, and I've just come to like it, considering it's a fast electric, and it's like at the bottom of the barrel in terms of electrics. I do feel the top tier electrics and the bottom tier electrics do a lot of the same similar things. Like for an example, Jolteon, it's a fast view. I can't speak English. English is tough. But Jolteon is a fast electric type. It goes for Volt Switch and stuff, all that good stuff. And so does Zebstrika. It's fast as well. And yeah, they just do a very similar thing. So I have to usually go and I opt a faster electric type at the bottom of the barrel. And Zebstrika usually is one of my go-tos. So another tier 5 I quite like in the format is Rapidash. Rapidash is an amazing fire type. It's pretty fast. And I quite like it as a Pokemon. Its coverage is absolutely insane. So that thing actually is a really good Z user. I quite like the fact that it can run many different Z moves. It can run Ground EMZ, Buggy EMZ, and there's just so many more that really aren't coming to mind right now. But the point is, Rapidash is very strong. It's fast, and it's a really good low-tier fire type.
Yeah,
so I think then...
Sorry, I was just going to say, it's got Wild Charge. That's probably the most valuable Z move it has to beat those water types.
So I think the third one I have to put on my list there in terms of tier 5s is, you know what? I don't even think I have a third one, but I know Rapidash and Zebstrika are by far my top 2. I'll get back to you on the third one. It's just not coming to me right now.
That's all good. My second question is, in your opinion, is Draft League content stale? And if you think it is, what do you do as a content creator to bring some variety to the table?
That's actually a really good question. It's a really interesting question. I think Draft League content is a part of a bigger picture. I think Draft League as a whole is stale. I think the format as a whole is a shell of what it once was. And I think the Switch will bring it back. I really think that Draft League just needs for the Switch to come out because, yes, the format is getting a little bit stale in terms of many people's eyes, but I think it's fine. I enjoy it. It's my number one. It's my go-to content, and I quite like it. I've even started doing Draft League content over on Twitch. So, as a whole, I quite like doing Draft League content on YouTube and Twitch, and it's really fun. And I think the breath of fresh air that I've given Draft League content is, like I said, I took it over to Twitch. I started doing Draft League battles live on stream. And I think that's pretty interesting because of the fact that your chat can talk to you about plays, even though I really don't pay attention to my chat. Or they can just spectate it live as it's going on, and they just get live reaction. I just think it's really cool to stream Draft League battles on Twitch. I've really enjoyed it, and I think I'm going to do it more often. But something else I do is I add a little bit of my personality to my Draft League. Obviously, I get very into the games, so my reactions tend to be a bit over the top, I'd say so myself. But I think it's pretty funny looking back at my reactions being like, wow, this was actually pretty funny to look at. My reactions were quite funny. For example, I recently did a battle where it was an Ubers League, and I had a Dawn Wings to Krozma. And there was a genning mistake, and unfortunately had Ally Switch instead of Shadow Ball, like it should have. Yeah, that was rough. But yeah, my reaction was really funny, and yeah, it was just a fun battle to look back at, and it's like, wow, my reaction was pretty funny. This whole situation was actually pretty funny, even though at the time it sucked.
I'll definitely have to check that out myself. And I think we'll move on to our final question here. That question is, how do you handle losses? is the way you handle losses the same as the way you did when you started playing? And if you have made a change, has it helped you grow as a person and as a player?
I think over time, I've actually handled losses pretty well. Losses don't really bother me. Like, sure, I'll get salty in the middle of a battle. Like, for an example, if I get flinched, or if I get crit, something of that sort of nature. But I usually do it out of good fun. I know it's a joke. I usually just do it out of the fact that, I don't know, it's part of the game in the long run. Like, sure, in the moment I'll be kind of mad, but then I'll laugh about it, because honestly, looking back at my battles where I get hacked, it's honestly pretty funny to look at. For an example, like in IBL Season 4, there was a really memorable game, Week 2, where it was 1v1. It was a Jirachi versus my Pyroar. And the one thing I could not have happen was I couldn't flinch. The two possible opportunities, I couldn't flinch, and unfortunately I got flinched both turns. And I felt like my reaction looking back at it was pretty funny, but overall, I couldn't help but laugh at the battle itself. I couldn't help but just look back at that battle video and was like, wow, this reaction is actually pretty funny. So yeah, I would say I take losses pretty well. I don't think I would go out of my way and purposely call someone an asshole because they hacked me. No, that's stupid, because that's a part of the game in which they can't control. And I think that me and my ability to take losses is something I hold very valuable to myself. I think a lot of people, unfortunately, don't take losses too well. I think I take losses pretty well, but yeah, I just think I'm personally proud of myself as a person for how I take losses.
Right. Now, you've talked about hacks a little bit, and how if you get hacked out and lose the game because of that, you can laugh it off. But has there ever been a game where you know you could have played better and you regret making certain plays? How do you handle that?
Now, I will say, while I do handle hacks well, and I do handle certain luck factors of the game, one thing I don't handle pretty well is when I misplay. Like, I will dig into myself. I will beat myself up to shit. Like, for an example, I had a game recently where if I went for, what game was it? I don't remember. I do recall the multiple games, though. If I would have went for a certain move, or I would have prepped better, I would have won the game. But ultimately, I didn't. And I beat myself up. I will beat myself up for a very, very long time. Because I'm just that kind of player that's like, wow, I really, really hate losing, and I really think that I can do better than this. And normally I view my losses as an opportunity to grow as a player and potentially get better. But I don't know. I get really mad at myself and I beat myself up. And I honestly think that's a massive character flaw of mine. I really think that I get too down on myself over losses. But then what happens is I get too high on myself when I win. When I win, I get too overconfident, and therefore I start underestimating people, and that often results in me kind of like taking a step back, kind of relaxing in terms of prep. But I know I can't really do that. And then when I start winning, or when I start losing, excuse me, I get really, really hard on myself. And I was like, wow, I got to really try harder. And then ultimately I try too hard, and that ultimately cost me games. So I think that's a massive flaw of mine in terms of how I play. So I think I could do better. And I think that I'll get over that. But right now, I just think it's a massive character flaw of mine.
Yeah, it's definitely difficult to find the balance between trying too hard versus not trying hard enough for anybody, really. You just, a lot of people just kind of take comfort in picking the play style that they like and just sticking to, like, winning the game by their own hands, if you know what I mean. Like, you establish your own win condition rather than just killing theirs, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I know what you mean.
Yeah, I know. I've started doing that as of late. So, that's about it in terms of the questions I have for Brendan. Do you, have you thought of your third favorite Tier 5 Pokemon?
Gonna be real with you, Chief? No.
No? It's all good, dude. Alright. Well, hope you guys enjoyed that interview. you will catch me doing power rankings for the remainder of this season. My link, I am sure, will be in the description, and Brendan's definitely will, as he'll be uploading the core league battles for Season 5 of the IBL. So,
I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, that's gonna be a good time. I will catch you guys in the next video. Later.
Peace.
Later.
Peace.